Just Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host, Fondue. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking all about royalty and cheese.
Ooh.
We're talking about England, Spain,
Wow.
Bhutan,
Whoa.
Saudi Arabia,
Holy cow.
and various other countries around the world that have royalty and, of course, cheese.
Of course.
And unless you're new to the show, you know that every single episode has our signature cheesy joke.
Oh yeah? Joke.
Stay tuned for episode 74, Good to be the King, on Just Cheesy, the podcast. Did you know that at the end of March, England's very own King Charles III went to Germany and visited a place called Brodewyn Farms, which was established in 1991.
Really?
The farm produces a cheese called the Brodewyn King.
Makes sense.
And according to WisFarmer.com, this is a Tilsiter-style cheese.
Okay.
It's infused with carrot juice to
Ooh.
give it a little sweetness and orange color like British cheddar, they say.
Yum.
The farm adheres to strict organic standards,
Nice.
and almost all of its electricity is generated on-site through solar energy.
Whoa.
And the organic nature of the cheese probably appealed to King Charles.
Why?
In an article called Royal Rides, check out these fancy cars of royals around the world
Ooh.
from a website called augustman.com. We learned that former Prince Charles had a blue Aston Martin DB6,
Ooh la la.
which was converted in 2008 to run on biofuel.
Whoa.
And that biofuel used none other than surplus wine
Whoa.
and cheese.
Wow.
So I thought, why not make a whole episode about royalty and cheese?
Sure.
There must be other monarchs around the world, and boy, there sure are.
Yeah.
And apparently they do like to visit cheese factories.
Really?
According to the dailymail.co.uk, Queen Letizia and King Felipe of Spain visited the island of Menorca
Wow.
back in 2020. And while they were there, they visited the largest producer of cheese.
Of course.
According to Wikipedia, Menorca makes a cheese called queso de Mahon.
Okay.
This is a soft to hard white cheese made from cow's milk.
Yum.
And it says here that the cheese is buttery, sharp, slightly salty, and lightly aromatic.
Yummy.
And it seems like visiting cheese factories is a thing around the world
Yeah.
because the king of Bhutan, and I am not going to try to pronounce his name
Oh, that's
so I don't
good.
butcher it.
Good.
Back in 2020, he visited Kofku International Limited. This plant produces Gouda cheese, yogurt, butter, and processed cheese.
Yum.
And this is according to a small blurb on Facebook.com.
Okay.
And did you know that in Bhutan they have the hardest cheese in the world?
They do?
According to dailybhutan.com, there's a cheese called chugo or chirpy, which is a type of hardened cheese.
Okay.
It's made of yak's milk,
Ooh.
and it's chewed almost like chewing gum.
Whoa.
It says here that they chew it early in the morning to keep them warm.
Wow.
It's apparently an acquired taste. It supposedly smells like yak, and it takes about 30 minutes to chew through.
Whoa.
According to this article, in America, chugo is sold as dog treats called Himalayan dog chew.
Oh no.
Chugo cheese from Bhutan is not a sponsor,
Nope.
but if it was, the ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do?
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay!
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY,
Cheesy.
that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay, Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. According to DuluthNewsTribune.com, back in 2011, Norway's king, Harald V and Queen Sonja, visited the upper Midwest of the United States.
Wow.
They didn't visit any of the cheese manufacturers, but they did visit a lot of the area. And the king said a few interesting quotes.
Okay.
One was, "I found Americans in the Midwest to be much more advanced than the people in Norway realize."
Okay.
In the article, they mentioned that the region offers ready-made and eager markets for Norwegian goods, but he said, it's not just goat cheese and sweaters.
Aw.
Back in 2000, the King of Jordan visited the United States.
Whoa.
He and his wife went to No Valley, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. And while they didn't visit a cheese manufacturer, they did go to a restaurant called Savor,
Wow.
where the king had a crepe filled with avocado, tomatoes,
Cheese?
sour cream, salsa, peppers, and of course, cheddar cheese.
Aw, yum.
According to royalcorrespondent.com, His Majesty King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands, back in 2015, opened a cheese factory called Royal A. Ware.
Whoa.
According to the article, this particular company produces 80,000 to 100,000 tons of cheese every year.
Holy cow.
King Willem-Alexander must be pretty big on cheese because in 2020 he also visited a cheese farm in De Leen.
Ooh.
And of course, I may have pronounced that wrong.
Oh, fondue.
Apparently, cheese is a pretty big deal to the Dutch.
Yeah?
That same king, Willem-Alexander, reopened and redesigned the Dutch Cheese Museum back in 2014.
Whoa.
The museum has been open since 1983 and it's had over 1 million visitors.
Holy cow.
This museum is in Alkmaar, and it not only has this cheese museum, but it also has the Beatles Museum and the National Beer Museum.
Ooh.
And according to the museum's website, they have a cheese market that has been in existence since 1365.
1365.
You can check out all the other fun facts about cheese on their website, which is linked in our show notes this week.
Whoa.
In Thailand, their king, Maha Vajiralongkorn, from what I can tell, he did not visit any of the cheese manufacturers, but according to Facebook, back in 2018, the way to celebrate this king's birthday was on domestic flights on Thai Airways. They would serve pineapple cheese tarts on all the flights to and from Bangkok.
Yummy.
And in this week's segment of Not Cheese,
Not cheese?
we travel all the way to Saudi Arabia.
Ooh.
I'm going for it on this one.
Oh, boy.
King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, everybody in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, the king did not visit a cheese manufacturer, but
Really?
while searching in Saudi Arabia to see, I found out that Chuck E. Cheese actually has quite a bit of reach around the world.
Really?
Did you know that there are Chuck E. Cheeses in Saudi Arabia?
Holy cow.
According to chuckecheese.com.sa, there are at least 18 locations
Whoa.
in Saudi Arabia. Who knew Chuck E. Cheese was so worldly?
I'm ready for a joke, fondue.
Okay, how can you tell if a cheese is related to a king?
No idea.
It's blue-blooded, of course. Blue,
Oh.
B-L-E-U.
Yeah.
Blue bloods are kings
was
and
dumb.
royalty. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
I
Dumb.
know. I'm running out of jokes, but
Yeah.
it was a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to episode 74, Good to Be the King, on Just Cheesy the Podcast.
Thank you.
We look forward to talking to you next week.
Stay cheesy, everybody.